This is run 1 of the 2018 Final Fantasy V 4-Job Fiesta. That is 4jobfiesta.com and at FF5 4Futures on Twitter. My party is top to bottom Dragoon, Hunter or Ranger, Thief, and Berserker at the bottom. Butts is my resident Berserker, taking care of things at the bottom. My equipment setup is on Twitter, but I'll kind of briefly talk about who all has what. Starting with my Berserker. My Berserker does have the Earthhammer Thornlit combo, so when he does roll the the Earthquake attack, it will do about 2,000 damage to all targets on the screen. He is in the front row because I anticipate putting the attacking piece of Neo Exdeath into Darkness status, so he's about as safe up there as he is anywhere else, and he does more damage when he just does a regular swing. Ferris does have a Dragoon Spear. That will come into play when we go on to fight Neo Exdeath. I've got the Chicken Knife on the Thief, and the Jump skill. You'll see not the Capture skill or the Mug skill, which ignores the Chicken Knife and its run proc, and we'll see kind of what's going on there when we get to Neo. And then my Hunter also has the Jump skill. She's equipped with the Yoichi Bow, which it does the best damage, I think, overall because it has that chance to crit. So the crit chance ends up doing more damage than equipping the Artemis Bow, I think, in the long run, especially when you're dealing with high defense enemies like these endgame bosses. So right now, everyone's just jumping. I have 2 Mirage Vests. I did steal an extra Mirage Vest from one of the Imp enemies in the Island Sanctuary. So I do have 2 Mirage Vests on my 2 squishy characters. Basically, the full set of Genji gear, or all the good stuff of the Genji gear, and Aegis shields on the 2 tanky guys. And we're just trying to stay out of harm's way, really. In this first part, when you're thinking about trying to avoid white holes, sometimes it's better to leave the Dragoon on the ground because she has an Aegis shield that protects her from the white hole attacks, the stoning. Other times, you've got 2 characters down there who can eat up the physical attacks from Exdeath because of their Mirage Vest, the Infinite Mirage Vest glitch, which you can see every time I switch the weapon from one hand to the other, I am activating that glitch to reset the single image status. So image 2 and image 1 are actually 2 different statuses in this game. So Mirage Vest gives you image 1. Casting the spell image or using the ninja image, I think, gives you image 2. So this is just a successful attempt. You can tell by me recording it. That avoided a Meteo here in this first part. We did get a Holy there that knocked out a character. We just avoided a nasty Meteo to knock everybody out. So the strategy for Neo Exdeath is going to be basically to jump out of harm's way. And we're going to focus the damage first on the Grand Cross piece. I thought originally the wisdom would be in focusing damage on the Almagest piece, because that really is the most threatening piece. But I discovered I could jump out of the way of the Almagest, but then I would be hitting the ground on Grand Crosses and getting hit with uld and all that nasty stuff. So, and I originally had only 2 jumpers, thinking that only 2 jumpers could come up there and revive the other one. That way the Thief could have the Mug ability and have more reliable damage, but I decided to go with all 3 of the characters I control with jump so that we can basically keep everybody in the air to avoid all the nasty stuff. We are going to put the physical part of Neo Exdeath into Darkness status as quickly as we can, usually with a couple of attacks of the Darkness Bow. I usually do 2 to be on the safe side because you can't tell if you've actually applied the status. There's no visual or audio indicator that you've applied Darkness status, so I usually just do 2 attacks on it. They don't actually have to do damage or much damage to inflict it. When you do it on some of the high defense bosses like Shinryu, even doing a 0 damage attack can inflict it. So the front piece will not be very threatening, but we will still have some physical damage coming in because some of the other pieces have fight in their routine. I think the back piece we like to think of as being a magic piece exclusively. It can hit you with some fights. You just randomly see fights sometimes from other pieces that they'll hit you. So you do have to be careful on that. So once Grand Cross is out of the way, then we can start focusing on Almagest. We don't have a way to cheese the Almagest into being turned to stone, so we do have to deal with them. Any one of these characters getting hit with Almagest at, we're about level 33 right now, is going to die. They will die. So anyone who's on the ground when Almagest fires off is not going to make it. So we do have to be very careful about what we do here. Now, the top part is a dragon-type enemy, so it does actually have a weakness to the Dragoon Spear. So you'll actually see about 6,000 damage per on the Dragoon when they make that jump, when they come down on the top. The Chicken Knife basically just does the Chicken Knife's regular damage, although it does it without missing, which is nice, or without that chance to run. So there's 2 attacks on the Darkness Bow. Neo Exdeath is starting to shake right here, so that means that Almagest is coming. One of the biggest mistakes that I made in the earlier rounds of this fight, it wasn't too many, but I did a couple of exploratory ones, was jumping too early when we start to shake. That shaking animation goes on for a long time, so usually I would do one more full round of actions before we would jump back on. The Yoichi bow goes back on the hunter before she jumps because it has higher base attack power, and it also, interestingly, I noticed, learned it for the first time on this run, is it also has a chance to critical on the jump. I don't recall if we actually saw it in this fight. We might actually see it, but it does have a chance to critical on the jump. And I think that actually might have been one, that 2700. So the hunter actually jumped a little bit too early and got hit with the Almagest. Now we have a Grand Cross incoming because the laws of physics are broken. There's a whole bunch of ineffective targeting stuff, and I'm just guessing those are things that were queued up while we were in the air. I'm thinking pieces of Exdeath's body got turns queued up, made targets on things, and that got in the queue of our jumps. I'm not sure about that second round of ineffectives. I'm guessing it's just the game's a little bit confused with us being in the air, because there's 2 rounds of ineffective, and here's 3 rounds of ineffective. Now, Flare does come back, and Flare does hit Lena. You notice I don't always throw elixirs at characters to heal them back up, because basically almost anything that Exdeath can hit us with is going to be a one-shot anyway. There are very few things that Exdeath can do to us right now that will not kill us. So it's a character with 200 hit points is the same as a character with 1,200 hit points in this battle, almost. So there was a vacuum wave incoming that missed from the darkness status. So now I'm confident that other piece is in darkness status. Almagest is still around and still dangerous. So we're still working on the Grand Cross piece before we can switch over to Almagest, because I want to get it through its Grand Cross cycles. When you see there's a Grand Cross we all just missed, and when you see the next couple of laws of physics are broken, you know that we've gotten it through a couple more AI cycles with its HP routine. But we just barely missed a Grand Cross right there, and that is satisfying to see it just say Grand Cross with no animation. That Arrow 3 came at a dangerous time because, as you can see, Almagest is incoming, and I need to get everybody in the air before that Almagest fires. I probably should have revived Lena right there and let her get a turn to jump in the air. I think I panicked a little bit and got Ferris in the air probably too early. So you can see Ferris landed, and that killed the Grand Cross piece. Grand Cross piece is down, but Almagest is still incoming. I'm able to get Kara in the air, and Ferris has the Major League Aegis Shield block of Almagest. That is Major League Gaming right there. That could have been pretty disastrous. Maybe not game over, maybe game over. Depends on what happened when Kara landed, if she was able to get a Phoenix down fast enough out to one of the characters and get herself protected. But that could have been GG right there because of my mistiming. So that's one of the reasons that you keep the Aegis Shield on the characters you can control, is because you can get just a block on things like Almagest if you happen to mismanage a little bit. It's nothing that you can count on. You can't rely on it, but it is nice to know that it can be there. Once the Almagest piece is dead, there's really very little that Exdeath can do to us that is game over threatening, because all of its moves, as long as there's 2 pieces alive, of course, are single targeting attacks. So as long as we have 3 characters or 4 characters, when I can get the Berserker awake on his feet, and then there's the Berserker quick attack upon revive. I used that to great effect in the Twintania battle. Kept the Berserker dead until the Twintania switched into charging mode, threw a Phoenix down at it with the Lancer, who did not otherwise have an insta-kill weapon. And the Berserker woke up, swung, and killed it. This is getting the Magic Lamp queued up to Odin to be able to take out the last piece. This is my standard strategy, is leaving the last piece for the end. There's a nice critical on that bottom piece. The Berserker, I should note, does have the Thief's agility skill, so you'll see the Berserker seems like is moving pretty quickly, and that is a really nice support ability for Berserker. It doesn't seem to work in the first round of a battle. Berserker still seems to take forever to get its first turn, but once the battle's going, the Berserker really moves, and I'm not sure what the deal is with the Berserker timing, but it definitely does make a difference noticeable, because you can see the Berserker's going again. So that pairs well, really well, I should say, with the Earth Hammer Thornlet combo. That really pairs well with that. There was another critical, and Delta Attack is a killer in this one. It works almost like White Hole when your hit points are low. It works like White Hole. Because now it's going to take 2 actions of my characters to bring her back. A Phoenix Down and a Soft thrown separately. But I decide because Almagest is incoming, I need to get in the air. I don't think I can throw both of them at her. I could have maybe thrown one of them and then jumped into the air. Almagest misses everybody except the Berserker. She's stoned and dead on the ground. Lena is, so she's okay. And there's the jumps landing. So now we can bring back poor Lena. We're clear of Almagest for a while, and we're hoping that that's going to be close to the last Almagest we have to deal with. We're hoping that we can dump in about another 10,000 damage or so and say that that's going to be the end. We hope. But there you get a back-to-back Vacuum Wave and a Flare from the 2 different pieces. Their turns tend to line up like that. That's just something that happens. And again, like I said, most things are one-hit KOs. Ferris can take a physical attack, but not a Vacuum Wave, I believe, without dying. So that's what she actually ate there before when she blocked Almagest and then took a physical attack right after that without dying. So Ferris is the only one, and a Berserker, so Butts could probably eat something. So resetting the chicken knife, going right for the fight command right there, because I don't want to mistime my jumps again. So keeping everybody on the ground, keeping everybody legitimate targets, I guess, for stuff. And there's a nice critical from the Yoichi Bow. And we're just waiting for that that telltale burn away sound. And we're just going to see who's going to make the last hit. So there's Holy, but again, that's just going to cost us a Phoenix Down. And I don't usually waste turns on elixirs because that Holy would have taken her out with full health or 1 health. And bringing back the Berserker. The Berserker will do some damage, of course, when he wakes up if he gets the Earthquake attack. But also, the Berserker can eat some of those single targeting attacks. Some of those like Delta Attack or Holy or Flare, Bolt 3, whatever. The Berserker can eat those for us. So that's one of the reasons to try to keep the Berserker alive. Now we have an Almagest coming. And there the Berserker, nice block there on the physical attack. Then there's the Berserker attacking one of the dead targets. That's one of the invalid targets. There are 2 of them. One kind of in the bottom right near where that dancer female form is. And another one back by the kind of by the yellow dragon head there. We like to think that the magic piece there is the burn away. So Almagest is not going to fire. Almagest is not going to fire. And that jump right there from Kara, that targeted one of the ineffective targets too. So anything, there's that same target. So anything that is a random target on XDeath can hit one of those 2, we call them dead pieces, but they're really just invalid targets. So sometimes you'll see Berserkers hit them, X-Fight will hit them, a jump can hit them if the target disappears before the jump actually lands. You'll see that happen sometimes. The elixir on the Berserker is keep him alive because his hit points are ticking away by way of the Thornlet helmet, which is causing the magic underflow glitch that allows the Earth Elemental attack to do 2,000 damage, because it would certainly not be doing that otherwise. So now we are not in the clear. I mean, a massive menuing mistake could still end this run. But if we play this cleanly, there's another attack on the dead target. We are in good shape because we have the back piece left and the front piece left. The front piece is going to use mostly physical attacks. That's also the source of all that dispel that you see is that front piece. And the back piece is mostly going to do magic damage, but all of it is single targeting. So as long as I keep all 4 characters on their feet, throw a Phoenix down when necessary, we are okay. I have to listen carefully for the death of the front piece, because if that back piece is allowed to get a turn while it's alone, while it's the only piece left, it does the, we call it the Berserk mode or the Desperation mode of Exdeath. It doesn't have an official name as far as I'm aware. But its routine says if it's alone, go into this AI routine, and that includes double attacks of things like Almagest and Meteo and all kinds of nasty all-targeting stuff that really could wipe us out. Because, you know, one Almagest fires right now, boom, it's over if we're on the ground. So we need to be really careful about that. So you'll see me in a little bit try to line up turns so that I have more than one character's ATB bar full, so that if one character attacks and kills the front piece, the next one can go right into using the magic lamp for Odin, which will one-shot kill the back piece. And the reason I don't do that now, of course, is that will leave the front piece alone, and I can't do that because the front piece also has an AI routine for being alone. So I need to keep both pieces alive until I can take them both out in one quick succession. So this is me waiting until the next bar is full. This means that you end up eating a few more attacks than you normally would because you're kind of letting the ATB bar run when you're not doing anything. But it's important if you're not actually doing hit point counting, which I often don't on this. It's a little bit too much work for me. Unless the party really, really, really needs hit point counting. Because you can get rid of that magic piece early, but then you have to deal with leaving either the front piece and the Grand Cross hanging around, or the front piece and Almagest hanging around. And neither of those are my my favorite choice. Okay, so with each one, I'm just listening for the burn away sound, because that's what tells you that a piece has died. The enemy fading away sound. So here's me waiting again. There's another earthquake. And I'm not counting the hit points, but at this point when I was making the recording, I knew it was coming up fairly soon. I wasn't sure exactly where I was in the hit point range. There it was right there. So a non-critical hit from the Yoichi bow was enough to take out the front piece. The magic lamp was queued up from Bahamut to Leviathan to Odin, and at this point in the battle you can set down your controller because that is all she wrote. Neo Exdeath goes down. So the first run of the 2018 4-Job Fiesta is complete. There is a possibility that Shinryu could be in the cards before I start my next run. Depends on how excited I am about grinding extra Dragoon Spears and doing a bunch of luck re-rolls on the battle. But if I am able to get the Shinryu battle, it's really going to just be gravy on this, because a Berserker run like this with this kind of underpowered party is it's gonna be tricky, and it's lucky that we got the game over at the levels we did, about level 33. Could have been a little bit lower, but I wouldn't want to go too much lower with this. It ended up that Jump was the all-star for Neo Exdeath, and that's something that in my planning I had not thought of that at all, to have everybody in the air for Almagest. So that I can remember at least. Maybe I could look at my records again a little bit more thoroughly. I don't think I've ever used that strategy of putting Jump on multiple characters to get them up in the air before Almagest fires. It's lucky that you do have a visual indication that Almagest is coming. So with that, I will let a little bit more of the credits roll, but not the whole thing on this video. If you want to see the whole video and the epilogue and the character screens raw, that will be another video. I'll keep that one unlisted on my Twitter account. This one will be public. So I'll be starting another run here in end of June 2018, and we'll see how many we can get in this year. I'm going to try to do more of them on my Super Famicom Japanese cartridge, but I didn't want to mess around with the Berserker run on something I'd have to play on console. So thank you for watching if you've been here to the end. If you want to see some of the other videos that I do, I'm finishing up a Final Fantasy Tactics All Archers run. So if this kind of job-switching Final Fantasy game challenge run appeals to you, you can check out that whole series. That will be publishing out through the end of the summer, but I have finished playing that. It's just going to be coming out 2 videos a week. And look at my Twitter account for more unlisted videos of a lot of the boss fights here. Everything without commentary, I will keep unlisted. Videos that I put commentary on like this, I will put public so that that goes out to the subscribers of the channel. So be sure to like this video and subscribe, and we will see you next run.